Hello, and welcome to Popcorn News, something to watch while you eat popcorn. Do not try to comprehend it all. Nay, just eat the popcorn.
It can trick you. Stay near a light source, but do not trust any light other than the one that you hold in your own hand.
Are the Martians, in fact, trickster beings? Here is a clue to one possibility.
I've seen them too. Sometimes the world of the dead gets mixed up with the world of the living.
The persons involved in seances were known as spiritists, and they were inadvertently becoming affected by their contact with malevolent, discarnate entities. Beware of contacts with trickster beings, such as Loki the trickster from Norse mythology. These trickster beings, whether they say they are the ghost of your old Aunt Millie or are extraterrestrials having some deep purpose, are hardly trustworthy. Native American tribes had various what are called trickster beings. The Hopi Indians, for example, had, or perhaps still have, the Skeleton Man. Skeleton Man is Lord of the Dead in Hopi mythology, but is often depicted as a benign and even humorous figure.
He's Skeleton Man! Skeleton Man! Skeleton Man! Protecting the street, taking on crime, saving the world, day at a time. Under cover of night, cover of day, Skeleton Man!
And then there is Loki, the trickster, from Norse mythology. God to some, devil to others. Father of magnificent monsters and twisted schemes.
In Norse mythology, Loki is a god or Jotun, or both. Loki is the son of Farbauti and Laufey, and the brother to Helblindi and Bylaister. Loki's relations with the gods varies by source. Loki sometimes assists the gods and sometimes behaves in a malicious manner towards them. Loki is a shapeshifter, and in separate incidents, he appears in the form of a salmon, a mare, a seal, a fly, and possibly an elder woman named Thork. With the onset of Ragnarok, Loki is foretold to slip free from his bonds and fight against the gods amongst the forces of Jotnar, at which time he will encounter the god Heimdallr, and the two will slay each other. Loki's origins and role in Norse mythology, which some scholars have described as being that of a trickster god, have been much debated by scholars.
Are they Martians? Or are they discarnate trickster beings? So-called abductees recall being impregnated and having their sperm taken. But is the trickster merely doing an updated version of the Incubi and Succubi? Here is a reprint of an old book, the Malleus Maleficarum, also called the witch's hammer. Therein we find men may at times be begotten by means of incubi and succubi. Satyrs and fauns, which are commonly called incubi, have appeared to wanton women and have sought and obtained coition with them. Coition means sexual intercourse. Sperm and eggs are taken, so to speak. My copy of the Malleus Maleficarum contains an introduction by the Reverend Montague Summers.
Indeed, to quote Summers at the end of his book Witchcraft and Black Magic, he quotes Exodus 22:18, England has repealed the laws against witchcraft. The divine law she cannot repeal, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Summers is referencing the repeal of the Witchcraft Act which occurred in 1951, which led to a rather rapid rebirth of witchcraft, often referred to as neo-paganism. They then defiled the host by inserting it into her vagina and drink her urine. In one anecdote related by an acquaintance of Summers, Mr. Redwood Anderson, an English poet, Redwood Anderson came to visit the young Summers at the haunted vicarage at Ditton, where he found Summers highly disturbed and exhibiting a morbid fascination with evil, in which Summers pointed out in the churchyard the tombstone over the grave of the vicar's late wife, who had died many years before. Under her name and the dates of her birth and death there appeared on the stone the vicar's name, with his date of birth and an exactly predicted date of his death. On that very day a few years later the old man died. Summers was quite a character to see in person. Quoting John Redwood Anderson, an acquaintance of Summers, he wore a lavalier cravat, an always elaborately embroidered black silk waistcoat along with shabby leather gloves and an ebony cane with an immodest representation of Leda and the Swan. Summers wore purple silk socks, an individual choice and not part of the traditional garb of the clergy. According to Charles Wilmot, a student of Summers, Summers' dress was as near as it could be to his beloved Restoration and Queen Anne period, in which he wore a long frock coat, purple stockings, buckled shoes, and a tall mounted cane, with hair that looked more like a wig.
Besides Montague Summers, another of these forgotten persons was Margaret Alice Murray, author of The Witch Cult in Western Europe, a study in anthropology. Murray searched deeply and found this item from the 9th century, from a decree attributed to a general council of Ankara, which is now Ankara, Turkey. Certain wicked women reverting to Satan and seduced by the illusions and phantasms of demons believe and profess that they ride at night with Diana on certain beasts, with an innumerable multitude of women, passing over immense distances. Seduced by the illusions and phantasms of demons, i.e., the trickster. They ride at night with Diana on certain beasts, UFOs, but in the disguise of Diana, with an innumerable multitude of women passing over immense distances. There, their eggs are taken, and alien human hybrids are manufactured.